Well, while the president says no boots on the ground, his own generals say ISIS is actually an army, and it, quote, takes an army to defeat an army. Those militants control more cities day by day. They've even seized Iraq's largest dam. Vice News is the only news organization to embed with these militants. Here's an exclusive inside look at how ISIS actually operates and what their message, their scary message is for America.
أقول لأمريكا إن الخلافة الإسلامية قامت وبإذن الله لن تتوقف يا جبناء إن كنتم رجال فنحن على الأرض فلا تأتون بالطائرات من دون طيار فأتوا بجنودكم الذين مرغنا أنوفهم في العراق وبإذن الله سوف نمرق أنوفهم بكل مكان وإن شاء الله بالبيت الأبيض سوف نرفع على راية لا إله إلا الله.
Well, you can see more of that documentary on Vice News or follow them on Twitter at Vice News. Time for us, though, to bring in Christian Whiton, former State Department advisor, president of the Hamilton Foundation, and now a principal for D.C. International Advisory. Great to see you, Christian. I've heard a lot of people say that ISA makes al-Qaeda look like JV. What do you think?
You know, I think there's some truth to that. In a way, this group is much more interested and capable of exporting jihad. You know, right now they're looking at consolidating their own homeland, if you will, in Iraq and in Syria. But certainly much more than the Taliban and perhaps more than al-Qaeda, they have the means and the skill and the determination and the discipline to bring jihad abroad.
So can we curtail them with simply airstrikes? Some of the generals now saying you have to fight an army with an army.
That's right. And General Bednarik, who's in charge of coordinating security with Iraq, saying that this is much broader, that this is a real army. And that's something that Vice documentary shows. These people have military discipline. They have a acumen for political warfare. They have skills for strategic communications, for internal state security, to preserve the gains that they have made. Dropping a few bombs for humanitarian mission is not going to defeat this army. It's not going to shape the future of Iraq or the Middle East, which is what we should be concerned with. Frankly, it's very reminiscent of Libya, where we went to war for a humanitarian reason.
Right, and then we saw what ended up happening there, which was not a good thing. I just want to get your thoughts on some of this incredible inside embedded video with Vice and with ISA, and the fact that they have threatened to fly the flag of Allah over the White House. I have to tell you that when I was in Egypt before the uprising there, maybe 3 years ago or so, my own tour guide at the time told me that that was the goal, at least his goal at the time, which made me a little nervous. Now we're actually hearing it from this group. Should we be fearful?
Yeah, it's not going to happen tomorrow, of course, and frankly won't happen ever, but this group can cause significant harm, and we've tended to dismiss or to not take seriously the ideological and political threat. You know, we look at ISIS, we look at the Taliban when they ran Afghanistan, saying how could anyone find that appealing, even the most conservative of Muslims? Who would want that tyranny? And we fail to realize that this is a potent political force. Some people actually want what they have on offer, and other times they use fear and intimidation very effectively to implement their rule. And so you see across the Middle East, Islamism, jihadism making strides in this group, which has $500 million they stole, spreading this ideology.
Right. So before I let you go, if you were still inside this administration, what would you advise them to do?
You know, the most important thing is pushing, realizing we have 3 Iraqs now, and pushing Sunni Iraq in the way of secularism, rebuilding our ties to the secular sons of Iraq, pushing it away from ISIS, working with the Saudis, mixed bag, but you have to do it, and then fighting a global war of ideas, not with Western diplomats speaking English about tolerance, but with people who have a voice within Islam who can undermine Islamism and jihadism.
Whiton.